We'll give you a quick rundown of it if you want to know how the law works, how it's meant to work, and how the structures of international law especially apply in this situation. The very top is national sovereignty. Now, each nation on the planet has the right to national sovereignty, and on this continent we have many nations and they all have that same right individually. Now, because of that, the nations speaking here today, doing what they're doing now here at the old Parliament by taking the old Parliament back, it symbolises an end to the Crown's invasive belligerent occupation, which essentially means that when the British came here, they had no right to be here, and everything they did was a crime. And everything as a result of that is a crime as well. So what the boys here doing, like Luke is standing up and Bruce and Boomajin leading the way here, is applying their national sovereignty and their right to self-determine the outcomes for their people and their law. You know, every nation that exists on the planet needs to respect the nations around it and their right to law. Otherwise they don't have any standing as a nation. And the only way to avoid that is to go into war and conquest and all that stuff that the British did. But when they came here, they didn't apply the same protocols, and when they applied terra nullius, a complete fiction, they implied that there was no people here living with any nationhood or laws or constructs of governance or anything of the sort that was worthy of them acknowledging officially through the treaty processes and things that the common law precedent was around the world. So due to terra nullius being used at the very beginning, the Australian laws, the Constitution and the current corporate laws are all a direct result of a fraud being the foundation in law. And you can't have law if it's founded on a lie. There's just no integrity in that. So the bottom line is this: there is no law except what the original nations bring forth on behalf of their nations as law for their nations. That is the only law that exists. Everything else is a fiction. They have no right to enforce any of it, and it would be complicit in genocide for me or you or anybody else who has this information now to continue to allow that system any right to assume that jurisdiction. So you'll see today I spoke to the AFP senior brass, it turned out. In terms of being seditious against the Commonwealth, you can't get any more seditious than the way I've been behaving for the last 3 and a bit years, and today in particular. You know, that's sedition straightforward. So that's high treason. So if the courts, the High Court over here, and
get here, Jackie,
AFP, and all these mob want to come and arrest me for anything, it'll be sedition and treason. But first they have to prove that they have a sovereignty, which they don't have. So there is no crime, there is no sedition, there is no treason, there is no Commonwealth. It's all a fraud and a fiction, and it has to go. So we're decolonising, starting with this movement now. The truth will be in the lead all the time, all the time. The mobs have the right to the law, and they will be the leading foundation of law into the future, and that's just how it has to be. There's no two ways about it. So get on here to Canberra and support these mob that are here now, and the nations and the elders and the lawmen and women to come and be here and respect it all, so we can all unite, really unite, and end this tyrannous, campaign by this New World Order government. And I want you to all realise that at the beginning of all this, the New World Order built Australia for this very reason. And Australia is a New World Order toy. That's why we have puppeted government. We have, politicians who couldn't tie their own shoes. They do as they're told, And the reason for that is because the New World Order's in control. All the multinational corporations and governments around the world, all complicit in genocide, along with every court body, every military body, every government body on the planet. Allowing Australia to exist is complicity in genocide. All right? And it's not an attack on you people out there. That's just a fact. We don't get to choose how reality works. Okay? The law that you apply with the Australian Commonwealth Constitution now or before is fiction. The law of the land, the original nations, each nation respectively, is the law of the land, is the only jurisdiction. And because it's the first in time, best at law, first in right jurisdiction of all humanity, with the DNA genealogy to prove that, coming back to this land, they actually hold this power to reshape all law around the globe. Alright, so you understand that? The mobs here, the nations, the original nations on this continent, are the answer to the New World Order. We reset all things from this point outward. There's no other way to do it. So if you're serious about getting out of the New World Order, Australia, the world, everybody, you have to get behind what is happening here. Because this is where it will happen. It won't happen anywhere else. There is no other option. Every single body of law on the planet is guilty in complicity in genocide. Every single one of them. Alright? So if these nations here are not guilty and they defend their right to and maintain their national sovereignty, meaning they have the jurisdiction to find accountability for genocide here and globally. So this whole COVID scam, this whole garbage, tyrannous governments are pushing us into this communist bloody revolution. It can all be stopped. It can all be stopped from here. When the people here unite, cut the snake apart from the rest of the globe, and don't give them the opportunity to continue. And that's what we're here to do. And it's a bloody pleasure to work with brothers like Luke here, who's just one strong warrior next to other strong warriors, and we're going to hold our ground from now until it's done. And it's done already, to be honest. The fact is, they acquiesce the moment we start talking, because they don't have an answer. They don't have a response. Okay? They don't even have a body capable of giving them the order to attack us. They can't declare war on 369 nations. That's impossible. Okay? So the power is in those nations with the law. And now the mobs are waking up to their own spirit, their own power, their own Bora laws are activating all across the continent. And right now, the spirit is with us. And we're going to do it. It's not a negotiation, right? There's no room for negotiation, because the governments, the police bodies, all of them here, they don't have a legitimate side to any argument. There's no one to ask. There's no one to file permission to. All right, the mobs are the jurisdiction. It starts here, it goes out. End of story. Thanks, guys. Love yous all.
Thank you, my brother.